In the Russian Central Military District, in 2024 to 2025, over 600 service members died due to negligence, unsanitary conditions, and alcohol and drug overdoses, according to the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine. Over 2024 to 2025, more than 600 service members of the Russian Central Military District, one of the 5 districts within the structure of the occupation army, died as a result of negligence, alcohol and drug overdoses, fights, and unsanitary conditions, the HUR reported. According to the Defense Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, at least 71 service members died by suicide in 2024, and in the first half of 2025, there were already 86 such cases. Furthermore, drugs are becoming a serious threat. In 2025, there were 112 recorded deaths from drug poisoning, nearly reaching the 2024 figure of 143 cases. In a statement released, HUR said the deaths were linked to unsanitary conditions, alcoholism, and narcotics abuse among personnel. Last month, Russia's plan to replenish its occupation forces in Ukraine stalled, particularly in some of the country's poorest and most remote regions, including the Republic of Sakha, Yakutia, according to the HUR. HUR, citing internal documents from Russia's Ministry of Defense, alleged that recruitment efforts across parts of Russia, particularly in the Republic of Sakha, are falling short of Kremlin targets. According to the HUR, enlistment centers in the region have reportedly failed to meet around 40% of their quotas. Muscovites are also being killed by drugs. In the incomplete year of 2025, 112 cases of deaths from drug poisoning were recorded, almost catching up with the figure from the entire year of 2024. Then, 143 people died. The rising level of suicides, crime, and drug abuse among Russian military personnel is a sign of deep demoralization of the occupying contingent. According to the HUR, the shortfall underscores mounting discontent among residents and growing fatigue from the war, now entering its 4th year. The HUR report said another major factor behind the recruitment crisis is high casualty rates among local populations, particularly among indigenous ethnic groups such as the Yakuts, Evenki, and Evens, who increasingly refuse to fight and die for Moscow's interests. A similar pattern, the agency added, is being observed across other far eastern regions of Russia, where motivation to sign military contracts remains extremely low, despite state propaganda and promises of financial incentives. HUR notes that the increase in suicides, crime, and drug abuse among the Russian troops indicates deep demoralization within the occupation contingent. In the latest interception by Ukraine's defense intelligence in the Donetsk region, it was revealed that a Russian commander ordered the shooting of subordinates who attempted to retreat from their positions. HUR fighters also published a conversation in which a relative of a Russian soldier said that out of 25 Russian service members in the war against Ukraine, only 2 survived. Additionally, it was reported that the Russian army has set up field courts that punish deserters with torture and force them to fight to the death against one another.
President Donald Trump has pardoned his former personal lawyer Rudy Giuliani, his former chief of staff Mark Meadows, and others accused of backing the Republicans' efforts to overturn the 2020 election, a Justice Department official says. According to Associated Press, Ed Martin, the government's pardon attorney, posted on social media a signed proclamation of the full, complete, and unconditional pardon, which also names Sidney Powell, an attorney who promoted baseless conspiracy theories about a stolen election, and John Eastman, another lawyer who pushed a plan to keep Trump in power. The proclamation, posted online late Sunday, explicitly says the pardon does not apply to Trump. Presidential pardons apply only to federal crimes, and none of the Trump allies named were charged in federal cases over the 2020 election. But the move underscores President Donald Trump's continued efforts to promote the idea that the 2020 election was stolen from him even though courts around the country and U.S. officials found no evidence of fraud that could have affected the outcome. It follows the sweeping pardons of the hundreds of Trump supporters charged in the January 6, 2021, riot at the U.S. Capitol, including those convicted of attacking law enforcement. The proclamation described efforts to prosecute those accused of aiding Trump's efforts to cling to power as a grave national injustice perpetrated on the American people, and said the pardons were designed to continue the process of national reconciliation. The White House didn't immediately respond to an email seeking comment Monday. Also pardoned were Republicans who acted as fake electors for Trump in 2020 and were charged in state cases of submitting false certificates that confirmed they were legitimate electors despite Democrat Joe Biden's victory in those states. Another key figure on the list is Jeffrey Clark, a former Justice Department official who championed Trump's efforts to challenge his election loss.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to make a comment. I'm not going to answer questions because I'm still under examination.
All right, everyone, thank you for joining us. Come on up, come on up.
Thank you, Bill, very, very much. He's our counsel in the state of New Hampshire, and Lou is my counsel overall because there are going to be a lot of implications from this case. As you can tell, it has a great deal of room for expansion because a lot of people helped Joe Biden with this terrible lie that he told. Joe Biden has spent his life telling lies, getting away with it. Now he gets away with it because you let him get away with it. You foisted on us, I mean the press.
Talking about some massive straight lines up in the vote tallies in the middle of the night after they've supposedly stopped counting. And that's when the Dominion operators went in and injected votes and changed the whole system. And it affects votes around the country, around the world.
Obviously, they've got an important vote for the Postal Service, and wanted to take a message to as many members as I could directly be with, that the President's committed to making sure that our postal workers have the assets and the financial resources necessary to make sure that we have on-time deliveries.
I'm here with my counsel. I just, in an appearance and an arraignment on charges that in my view should never have been brought, I of course pled not guilty. I had zero communications with the electors in Arizona, zero involvement in any of the election litigation in Arizona or legislative hearings. And I'm confident that with the laws faithfully applied, I will be fully exonerated at the end of this process.